So how can you make passive income online? You know what? The easiest way is create this faceless YouTube channel and make it easy. Just kidding. I'm not saying to do that, but I'm sure you've seen those ads everywhere where they tell you to go do this kind of thing or this kind of business and it's supposed to be making you millions. No, I'm not going to do that. But I am going to share with you 3 non-traditional ways you can actually make passive income online and create more leverage and more wealth for yourself right now. And by the way, number 3 is a doozy. It's actually one that's helped me make millions, literally millions online doing the same thing. So be sure to stick around to the end for that one. All right, so number 1, online products. Now, I'm not necessarily saying like create this Amazon store or anything like that. I know like you've probably heard those kind of businesses go on and that can be really tough, especially lately because the rules change. And all of a sudden you're seeing a lot more people not making money doing those kind of businesses, right? So I'm not talking about selling other people's products or drop shipping or anything like that. I'm talking about your own online products. Now, it could be somebody else's too, there's no doubt. But this is something where you actually offer something that's already created, it's already made, and then you sell it, right? You're literally selling that thing. Because here's the problem. Most people are taught when it comes to making money, they're taught I've got to work hard and I got to put in the hours and trade my time for money. So if you're trying to make money online, so there are many people that try to put in a lot of time online, but that's not the secret, guys. You don't want that, do you? You and I both know that you want to be able to make money online whether you're there or not, right? You want to be able to be hands-off and that those orders are coming in. Well, that's where online products can happen. Now, these could be physical products or these could be even intellectual products. For example, I can go and I can say, I can go and try to sell like some kind of clothing line or something like that online. But the truth is, like, I may or may not want to do that. Plus, you have to have inventory and stock and everything else. Where on the other hand, if I have something that's intellectual property, it's digital in nature, I don't have to store anything. It might be taken up a little bit of my computer storage, but I make it once and then I can distribute it forever. This is why some people write books, right? It's not the book that people really want to keep producing, but they want something that they can sell in the middle of the night, right? It could be an audio program or video program or some kind of online training or something like that. Something you might spend the time to do once, but then you can offer this one to many people at the same time. So for example, one thing that happened with me, I remember like back in the day when I first launched Money Ripples, I was actually working off a non-compete, so I had to hit the reset button. I was doing really well with my previous company I had launched that eventually became Wealth Factory, but I now launched Money Ripples. I was trying to figure out, well, what do I do with this thing? And I remember I was in a Facebook group and a lot of people were asking in there. It was kind of more of a spiritual type group, and they were like talking about like, man, how can I make money with my purpose, right? Like how can I take my purpose and my passions and turn it into profits? And I had already done a training course like that with my previous company. I'd actually created a whole program on how to actually make money from your passions. And so I asked them, I just polled them, I said, hey, I actually have a way to do that. How many of you guys would be interested if I did like a 3-day course on that? And I'll tell you, like tons of people started liking and commenting saying, yes, I want that. So what did I do? I literally set up a time where I said, great, I'm gonna do basically it's like a 3 or 4 day type of training that I did for like 1 hour a day. I said, here's the 4-step course I'm gonna do. It's $50, I'm gonna cap it at 20 people and that's it. Well, 24 hours later, all 20 people had bought it. Well, 50 times 20 is $1,000. I made a quick $1,000. But I didn't stop there, did I? But wait, there's more, right? No, I didn't stop there because what I ended up doing is I then recorded all the sessions. So as I recorded those sessions, I had the very plan that I was gonna then sell it virtually online and then offer to people as a course that they can buy. And by the way, I would charge a lot more than $50 when I charged it to them, right? I would actually sell it for anywhere from, depending on what I wanted to offer and who I was speaking to, even when I went to events, I would offer that and say, hey, you could buy this for like $250 or $500 or something like that. I was able to sell that program not just once, but many times over and over and over again because of that one time that I recorded it. And that was 10 years ago, guys. And still, to this day, it pays me from time to time. So that's one thing you can absolutely do is create online products. Not just physical, but you can sell online with digital type products. Things that might come out of your own brain that you can offer that could be of value. It could be a how-to course. Like if you figured out some hack or something you were able to do that people say, how did you do that? If you hear people saying all the time, how did you do that? That is something you should be offering online. You could offer for low cost, you could offer for free, but obviously you could actually charge for something like that. If people say, you figure that out, I want to learn how to, you're like, great, $20. And there you go, you're starting to make money online. So that's one of the best ways to start doing it. But that's not the best one. That's number 3, so hold on. So number 2 is memberships. One thing that's become more amazing today, in fact, I will tell you, making money online is so much easier today than it was 20 years ago when we start having people talking about it. Because with memberships, the great thing is you can have a community of people that do pay you each and every month. And just so you know, if you have an actual business, the valuation of that business goes up a lot when people pay you on a membership. This is why Netflix is worth so much, because people pay literally 13, 15, whatever dollars a month for Netflix. They pay very little per month to have access to all those streaming videos. Kind of like those online products, right? But then now they pay it as a membership. You could actually create online products that could become a membership people have access to. You could do a newsletter. Maybe you do a monthly newsletter that's very valuable. You charge $5 a month. I will tell you this much. I've looked at a lot of people's finances, hundreds and hundreds of people's finances over the years. The one place that we always find people that they forget about are memberships and subscriptions. Whether it's an app, whether it's some sort of small membership, whatever it might be, usually when people are paying $20 or less per month, they don't even think about it. They don't even realize they're paying it. But if you're constantly always trying to deliver value, not just try to get money and that's your whole focus, but you're really trying to deliver good value for people, they will keep paying for it. I'll tell you, I spend about $70 a month to get a newsletter from a guy twice a month that talks about economics and things like that because, hey, I'm interested in hearing what he has to say. I'll pay that $70 a month to be on his list to hear what he's seeing out there, things that maybe the media won't report. That's valuable to me. I'll pay $70 a month for that. Guys, there are so many ways you create memberships. Like I said, it might be as simple as a newsletter or an email list that you literally charge like $5, $7 a month that people don't even remember that they're paying for, that you can get paid. And just imagine if you had $7 a month with 1,000 people, that's $7,000 a month coming in with something that you might spend very, very little time on each month. Probably a lot less time you would at your actual job, I can tell you that much. All right, and the third one, last but definitely not least, this is the one that's been great for me, is this, affiliate opportunities. Now, I didn't even know what an affiliate was back in the day. Affiliates are where you're able to become a referral source. You use the leverage of your relationships, the people that you have or know, and you refer them to somebody that can actually create great value for them, that solves a need or a problem. I'll tell you, this is the key for any affiliate relationship. There are people that are literally professional affiliates out there just pimping out their lists, like pimping out different products and offerings and things like that to anybody who will just buy. That's not me, that's not my style. I only want to do something that actually makes sense. One, does it mesh with actually what I'm offering people? And then two, is it something that actually really provides good value? It has a good reputation. They deliver on what they promise. Now, when I first figured this out, it was actually by accident. I had no clue what I was doing. This is back actually before I was able to retire when I was 28 years old. Well, I remember at that point, I just quit being a financial advisor because I realized financial advisors suck. They're just salesmen in suits. So I stopped doing that, and instead I started trying to help people out with mortgages, and I was even doing some other little side businesses at the time. I was also doing real estate investing, started to build up that portfolio. Well, I remember talking to a friend. He said, well, Chris, do you like doing mortgages? And I said, well, I like getting people the results, but I honestly hate dealing with paperwork, underwriting, applications. I hate that stuff. He said, Chris, why don't you find somebody who likes doing that? So I did. I found someone, by the way, his name was Clark, because if your name is Clark, you're going to be a nerd, and of course, you're going to take anybody's paperwork, right? And so I went to Clark, and I said, Clark, let me ask you, if I sent you these people here, would you pay me half? Would you pay me 50% of that deal? So I just teach them about the mortgage and what they should do with the refinance side, and then you do all the work on the back end. Would you pay me half? And he said, yes, of course, because I don't have to find the clients. I just have to sit back behind my computer and do my work. I said, great. And so we had that relationship. I started making somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 a month, working like seriously almost no time every month. And I thought, well, this is awesome. And by the way, this is just family and friends I was sending along to him, right? And I thought, well, if I could do it with him, who else could I do that with? And so I remember I had a wholesale jeweler in Salt Lake City that would save people it would be a third of the cost of what they'd buy at a normal jewelry store for their engagement or wedding rings. I said, hey guys, if you want to save some money, go over here instead. And then I'd get a 5% check, a kickback, a thank you check from those companies for sending the referral. And so I had that set up with about 3 or 4 different companies. The next thing I know, guys, between that and my real estate, I'm now making like $4,000 or $5,000 a month, working like maybe an hour or 2 a week. That was it. Guys, that's the power of affiliate, right? Because if it's not me that does the work, then who can do that work? Who can actually deliver on it? And so I came from a place of how do I serve people? How can I hook people up with people that are of good integrity that gives them good quality or good service or a good product? That's what you can do as an affiliate. You can actually refer them to those people. You get paid a part of those marketing dollars that they're going to spend anyways, but they want the referral. They want that nice, warm introduction. And so you could do that with people that you just know personally, like I did. You can, if you have an email list or if you have a social media following, you could do it as well. I'll tell you, I have a podcast, the Money Ripples podcast. By the way, like and subscribe to that one. We have a Money Ripples podcast. And on that show, I had a guy, John Asraf, that came on to talk about like mindset. He was in the movie The Secret. For some of you that are old enough, you might remember that movie, right? About the law of attraction. Well, he came on talking about, here's how you actually get some real results. It was very personal development. And he said, hey, Chris, if anybody actually buys, we'll send you a check. I said, well, that's awesome. I love it. I'll tell you guys, I regularly still get checks a year later after we recorded that episode. Still to this day, I'm getting checks from that one episode. Because why? Because he's great. He does a great job. He delivers good value and people want it. That's the power of having an affiliate. And I'm telling you, I've literally made millions of dollars by those kind of connections. You know, sometimes it's been something that we do more internally in the company, but still able to refer out and be able to get paid back by helping that service become complete. That is a real key that could also help you break free. So remember those three things, right? Remember, you can get paid with online products, memberships, as well as affiliates, and you don't have to leave your house, and you don't have to create a new online business to do it. You don't have to create an Amazon store or anything like that to do those things. All right, so I'd like to hear from you below. What are some other ideas that you guys have tried out that creates passive income online for you? Comment below and let us know what you think.